Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Kyra and we just love our makeup around here, and sometimes we're using what we have. In fact, most of the time we're using what we have, but today we're playing with something new, and I'm also bringing to you my review of the relaunch of the Naked palette from Urban Decay. But I filmed 3 eye looks for you in which I used every single shade at least once. And I feel like everybody has a story about this palette, whether it was when they had it, when they bought it, or the fact that they didn't ever buy it, or they felt like they missed out. And for me, like, this palette came out in 2010. And then it was discontinued in 2018, and now they've brought it back. I just started my YouTube channel when this was discontinued, so by time I kind of understood what I was missing, it was too late. I had really wanted this one, but because it was discontinued and later I decided that I did in fact want an Urban Decay Naked palette, I bought the Naked 3 instead and hated it. Whatever possessed me to purchase that palette, other than my best friend, my best friend of 20 plus years, she loved that palette. Like, she had pan and tons of the shade. She like used and abused that thing. And I thought, well, surely if she loves it, I will love it, because we love a lot of the same things. So I got that, was immediately disappointed, and wished that I had gotten the Naked palette before it was discontinued. And then I proceeded to try and hate pan that palette. Very quickly failed at that. And then I ultimately ended up decluttering it to said best friend as a backup for her to use. So that's kind of my little story, or lack thereof, about the Naked palette. And I'm really glad that I got it now, and I'll save the rest for the review. But before that, let's go ahead and get into the 3 looks. I'm so excited to play with this. Of course, I believe that we're gonna start with the shade Naked right here. This is blending just beautifully. I am using for my primer the MAC Prep and Prime 24-hour Extend Eye Base. I do love this color for a transition on my skin tone. I think I'm gonna use the same fluffy brush to go in the shade Buck. I don't know if I said this, but we are going smoky today. I just wanted my first look from this palette to be like a classic kind of look from this palette. So I'm just placing that on the outer part of the lid and then blending it up into the crease once there's less product on the brush. I'm also going to take that same little flat brush and run Buck along the lower lash line. I do love an Urban Decay matte from their Naked palettes, so they're so smooth and beautiful. I'm going to take Buck, and I need to place a little bit on this inner part of the lid, and then once I have the pigment off, I bring it up just above, just barely above the inner part of the lid. All right, I think I want to pick up Smog here. No, I want Dark Horse, this one right here. It seems to have kind of a slight grayish or greenish, and that's going to go between the blank space and, you know, the outer corner shade, just a tiny bit of depth, and leaving that inner place blank for our brightening shade. I'm gonna take this really small brush in the shade Half Baked, the classic, this one, and put that in the center. And how you do this is you look straight on in your mirror and make a straight line up from where your pupil is, and then I just start blending a little bit to the side, and then if need be, we can always go back in with that flat brush that we used for Dark Horse and just pat over the edges that way. I think this is such a great palette for every day. I can see why it was so popular. And then I just do a little blendy from here, make sure Everything's nice and seamless. I might take a tiny bit of Dark Horse on a smudgy brush and just connect the upstairs and downstairs just a tiny bit. And I think we're going to use Virgin for the inner corner, the first shade in the palette. It's a nice satiny cream shade. That is our first look with the palette. I'm gonna pop off of here, finish off the eyes, put on a lip, and I'll be right back. All right, I am back and this is the completed look. What do we think? I really like the smoky look, but let me tell you how I finished everything off. I used the NYX Epic Wear liner stick in deepest brown to tightline. I used the shimmer side of the ABH highlighting duo pencil. This is the sand shimmer shade. I used the Lancome Seals Booster XL lash primer and my brand new tube of L'Oreal Telescopic. For the lip, I lined with my ColourPop BFF2 liner, and the lipstick is the Kulfi Heirloom Satin Lipstick in the shade Cotty's Kiss. This is in my Project 10 Uses. I really enjoy this shade. And then I just lightly topped the lip off with a little bit of NYX Buttergloss and Madeline, and that is that. I really enjoy this whole look. I'm looking forward to trying some lighter looks, some cooler tone looks, and I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next one right now.
I find myself wondering what did happen to the last 10. I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again. It's kind of funny that the more we pass time, the more we need to set them rewind. And 19 was the year I had to leave you, but now I'm seeing all the signs. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure.
Hi guys, and welcome to day 2, look 2. Jess, if you're watching this one's for you. I want to go into Toasted and Hustle down here, but I also want to use one of my bestie's favorite shades in her original palette, which is Sidecar. I think I will go ahead and start with Naked, again as a transition. So I'm just placing this in my crease. Yesterday we kind of did my Lazy Girls Halo Eye. And so today I'm doing kind of more of a traditional application of eyeshadow for me. Next, we're gonna go into Buck, and that's going to go on the outer part of the lid and up into the crease a little bit. So which camp are you in? Are you in camp busting out your old Naked palette? Are you in camp I don't care about the Naked palette? Are you in camp I'm definitely buying the relaunch? How do you feel? Just taking a little bit more of Naked and blending things out. I'm gonna take my angled fluffy brush here and go into the shade Hustle right here. It kind of has a plummy base to it. And I'm gonna press this just on the outer part of the lid and bring it up to the crease, but not into the crease. I'm gonna take the shade Toasted here, and I'm gonna apply that over the rest of my lid, and then we're gonna take Sidecar to sort of highlight the center where Toasted and Hustle meet. But Toasted is this beautiful sort of rose gold shade, really nice. And I'm going to bring this up in the front of the crease. Just something I like to do. All right, and then I'm gonna take Sidecar on my fingertip. Now this is the one shadow that I really saw a difference between the original palette and this palette. I feel like Sidecar is now in more of like, almost like the moon dust shadows, very sparkly, a little bit sheer. They did say this is an updated formula. So I'm gonna just press this on the center of the lid here, Like I said, in between Hustle and Toasted. And I just like to bring that up slightly into the crease as well, so you can see the sparkles when my eyes are open as well. I'm gonna take the brush that came with the palette. I'm gonna take the smaller, flatter end here and pick up Hustle. And this is gonna go on the lower lash line, nice and smoky. And then I'm just gonna take the bare end of the brush here and blend, looking up, just kind of blend that across. That was a good one. I love thunderstorms. I'm going to go into Virgin right here, and that is going to go on the brow bone. I'm not really a shimmery brow bone girl, but when in Rome and when using the Naked palette. And then I think we'll do the same thing on the inner corner. I'm kind of saving the shade Sin here to go with these like blue-gray shades. All right, that's it. I'm gonna pop off and finish off the look, the hair, do a lip, and I'll come right back and show you the completed look. All right, we're back. This is the completed look. The hair is still very wet, so I'm not going to do anything more with it right now. So I finished off the eyes. I did use the NYX Epic Wear Liner in Deepest Brown to tightline. And then again, I used my AVH double-ended pencil, and I used the matte side today. And then my mascara is the L'Oreal Telescopic again. Lips are my Milani Color Statement lip liner in the shade All Natural. And for gloss, I am using the Milani Keep It Full Nourishing Lip Plumper in the shade Soft Rose. I'm like all the way down here on this one and just trying to finish it up, but I think it looks nice with this look. And this is what we did today. So what do we think of today's look? And stay tuned because the last look is coming right now. Welcome back to the third and final look. I think we're gonna do another halo eye. Yes, I know. This will be a little bit more of your traditional halo eye. I think I'm gonna start off with Naked. It's not like there's a lot of choices in here, but this one is just ever so slightly warmer than Buck. I need something with cool tone eyeshadows to blend them back into my skin tone, which is very, very warm. And a lot of times how I will do this is with a bronzer. But I just thought we could see if Naked is enough to do that for my skin tone or not. I know a few people have mentioned having trouble blending eyeshadow. I want to introduce you to something that I think will change your eyeshadow game, and that is using a bare brush to blend. And that's one of the things that I've learned in my makeup courses that has helped me the most. I even do this, excuse me, with my face and cheek colors and things like that. The bare brush just does a beautiful job diffusing things. I think I'm gonna put just a little bit of Buck also in the crease. This will kind of be like our go-between shade above the halo. And again, going in with that bare brush. All right, so we're gonna start with Gunmetal, and we're gonna go in like super, super lightly. So Gunmetal is sort of this blue-gray shade here. Okay, so here's a smaller angled brush. This one does not have quite as much movement. It is smaller, so it's gonna help me target things better. And I'm just gonna use this starting at the outer part of the lid and just working at an angle, kind of going out. Taking the same brush, but instead of using it like this, I'm gonna turn it upside down like so. And this is how I'm going to wedge this deeper shade on the inner part of the lid. How I measure how far in I want to go with my dark shades on my halo eye is by looking straight on in a mirror. I bring both sides in as far as the whites of my eyes go, if that makes sense. And I bring it up just a little bit to above the lid, just a tiny bit, nothing crazy. Now we're gonna take our bare brush and blend. Very light pressure though. And then also doing a light blend in between. Now we're going to take the smallest tool possible, some kind of a pencil brush. The smaller the better, and we're going to go into the shade Creep. And this is just a detail, okay? You don't have to do this. I want to use the black, obviously, because I want to use every shade in the palette, but I also want a no pan left behind this palette as well. So this is going to be your darkest shade, so it's going to be on the innermost and the outermost part of the eye. So we can go ahead and start and just put a tiny bit right here in the inner part of the lid. And then first bring it along the upper lash line and then just wing it out a little bit here. And remember, we're just placing, we're not blending. This is where things can really go awry with a black eyeshadow. Bare brush again. I think I'm going to take just a little bit more of Naked and blend in between and into the crease the two shades, just because this adds a little bit more warmth. And I think I'm going to get a clean fluffy brush now because we used the other one so much to blend the black and the gray. So I'm just taking this brush, which is the brush that I use to set my primer. Now we're gonna go into Sin. I really like the smallest flat brush that I can find. Look straight on in your mirror and line it up with the pupil or the black center of your eye. Make a line going straight up. I like to go just a little bit above the crease so that you can see that halo with my eyes open. And then you just slowly kind of work out at an angle and then at an angle. So you angle in like this and you angle out like that. But the reason you want to start in the center is then you can kind of blend out from there. And I just thought this pinky shimmer would be kind of pretty with the gray and black. All right, then I'm gonna take that fluffy angled that has no product on it and just blend on the inside and the outside, just so we make sure we keep that halo to the center. We can still see the gray and the black. And then one more blend in the crease, because I do want to take the shade Virgin and highlight the inner corner, brighten it up in here, and also kind of create a barrier for that dark shade on the inner corner as well. And I'm going to take Buck on the lower lash line. I just really don't want gray or black on the lower lash line, but I do want a little bit of depth. To save time, I'm gonna pop off of here and do my liner and mascara and a lip, the hair, the whole thing, and then I'm gonna come back and give you my complete thoughts on the palette so far. All right, I am back. This is the completed look. What do we think? Which look was your favorite? I can't decide, to be honest. I love all the looks that I created out of this palette. If you're curious about the lip, I decided to go a little 90s. So I used Sephora Collection Dressed to the 90s lip liner and a little thing I like to call my Juicy Tube. This is the Lancome Juicy Tube in the shade Dreamsicle. It's like an iridescent pinky shade, and I love this just over any lip liner. So that's that. Let's talk about the palette. I want to go through each shade and kind of give you my thoughts. The shade Virgin, really love this. Love this as a soft glow on the lid. Love this as an inner corner like I have it today. Really beautiful. Love the addition of Sin and it being sort of a light pinky shade. It goes really well with the two dark cool tone shades in my opinion, but I think it would go with a lot of the shades in this palette. Just briefly going over the mattes, I think they're perfect. I love that the Naked shade is a little more neutral, leaning warm, because I have a warm skin tone. So that really helps me to blend things back into my own skin tone. Otherwise, I do use things like bronzer and things like that to help with that as well. I love the shade Buck because it's a little bit cool tone and a tiny bit rosy. The one shade that for sure was different when I swatched my best friend's palette, which is an original, against this palette was the shade Sidecar. The shade Sidecar is definitely an improved formula. Depends on what you like, whether you would like this one or the original. But I will say that it has more of the texture of some of their moon dust shadows versus the original formula. I really like the shade Half Baked. I didn't know if I would because I'm not typically a big yellow gold person, but this is a really beautiful gold that I know I will use. The shade Smog, absolutely loved that as a one and done shadow. Dark Horse has that little touch of a green to it, and I do really enjoy that. I think it's it's not quite as metallic as some of the other shades. So I think it'd be great for deepening up the outer corner or creating your halo setup if you wanted to. And then the one other shade that I noticed a difference in between this palette and my best friend's original palette is the shade Toasted. And I do think that this is still beautiful, but I feel like her Toasted was better. It just had more, it was a lot more like Sidecar. It had a lot of sparkle and a lot of gleam and metallic to it. Whereas this one I feel like is almost between a metallic and a satin shade. And then I love the shade Hustle with that little bit of plum in there. I think that's going to suit a lot of the looks that I would create with this palette. And then for these deeper shades, when I got into them, or and when I ordered the palette, I wasn't for sure how much use I thought I would get out of them, but I actually really love the shade Gunmetal. It's a beautiful gunmetal gray with a lot of blue to it. And then the shade Creep, I mean, a black is just useful. I like it to line my eyes, which I used a little bit of it, I think maybe yesterday, to line my eyes. The little bits of glitter doesn't bother me, but you can also, add it to or under other things to really make them pop. So I'm actually very happy with those two shades. And I did save this to do on camera. Ready? Very nice. Overall, I love this palette. I'm really excited to play with it more. It's just everything that I hoped it would be. I am not disappointed in the slight differences between this palette and the original palette. Who do I think this would be great for? Not somebody who has or has had the Naked palette. I mean, if you had the Naked palette, you had to declutter it because it was old and you want to get a new one, great. I think it's great for somebody who loves neutrals, especially neutrals that lean neutral to cool. I also think this would be great for anyone who really likes sort of one or two shadow looks, 3 at most, a matte, a darker shimmer, and a lighter shimmer. I just think there's a lot that can be done with this palette. And I am so intrigued now, having tried this and used all the shades and stuff. I'm so intrigued. If you don't know who the creator of Pan That Palette is, it is Amber F, and I'll link her down below, as well as her playlist from when she panned this palette in its entirety. And it was just really interesting to go back and watch those videos. Those videos are 10 years old. That's how old Pan That Palette is. She did come up with a concept. It had never been done before on YouTube. And to watch her finish shade after shade after shade out of this palette, it's even more interesting for me to watch it now. And I can see though how she could pan this palette. It's a great base palette. I think you could set up looks and add color to it. So that's all I have for you today. Short and sweet. That's my review. Buy it if you want to, don't if you don't. I don't think, it's groundbreaking. I don't think you're truly missing out if you don't buy this palette. You should just stay and do, you know, whatever feels right to you, whatever feels right in terms of your budget or your no buy or whatever. Like, don't break that because this came back. I get the feeling that it's going to be around a little longer than what they're trying to make us think, just because if they went through the trouble to reformulate the palette, I'm gonna guess they're gonna want to recoup that and get their sales on it. I could be wrong. It's a good palette. I've enjoyed it. I will continue to enjoy it. And that is it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Again, I would love to hear down in the comments which eye look was your favorite. I don't know if I can tell, but I really did like the first one that I did with the green and the gold. That was really pretty. I also like this. This is very different for me, and I'm happy with the look as it came out today. But I hope you're having a great day and a great week so far, and I hope all of your makeup days are absolutely beautiful makeup days. And I will see you in my next video very soon. Bye!